Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. It's all about you, featuring shows on health and wellness, the performing arts, politics, and people who inspire you to be your very best. And now, here's Susan Brender.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. I'm pleased to tell you that I have a friend of my show by the name of Janice Sloan Riolo who wants to talk about the 4th of July. Now, it was yesterday that she really was supposed to talk about it, but unfortunately things happened. But she's invited back today to really give her opinion and her ideas about the story of the 4th of July. So, Janice Riolo, please tell us a little bit about it, and welcome to the Susan Brender Show.
Well, you know, Susan, you are doing me the biggest favor by letting me. I have chills just thinking that I can talk to you and people will hear me say the 4th of July is equal to Christmas. I figured it out last night when I was watching TV. I was watching the Boston Pop, and they were showing the audience. Everybody was singing. Everybody's face was painted with white and blue on. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, really. And I actually made my daughter, I'm in a facility right now, so I'm not able to be with friends or be at a cookout or be at the beach. And I was feeling really depressed, and I said, could you buy some real hamburger so I could have a true hamburger in a bun? I mean, isn't that the essence, a hot dog, a hamburger? That's the essence of celebrating the 4th of July. And when they said they had apple pie, I said, I think it's supposed to be blueberry pie.
You
right?
know, Janice,
I think it's supposed to be blueberry pie.
I'll tell you something, Janice. You know, it's a very interesting thing that you talk about the way you eat on the 4th of July. But actually, Janice, what I want you to really do is explain to our audience why the 4th of July is so very important. And if you could tell us a little bit about the Declaration of Independence, that would be fabulous. I think people need to know more. You know, they take it for granted. Right now, people don't really think about it as a holiday. They think, yeah, no, I don't have to work, but they don't think about it in terms of how important it was. So tell them, please.
You know what? They all know. All those people got together to write the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and to actually come up with a flag of red, white, and blue. What more do you need to know than the fact that everyone is welcome here? These people fled from another country, in fact, more than one country, and came here and settled in little areas so that they could believe and say what they wanted to. And that is really what we're doing right now, saying what we want to say without anybody saying, stop, you can't do that. And I think that's really the Declaration of Independence. Its laws are for the protection of every person in the United States. That's really what it says.
Yeah, but Janice, you know what? I agree with you. It's a form of a declaration that says freedom. It says welcome to all the people. But we're now dealing with a very different situation with regard to immigration. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I want you to inform the people in our audience how you feel about the immigration issues that are so important to us.
Well, let me just, I've become betwixt and between. And initially my feeling has been, from the beginning of whatever it is, people leaving other countries in search of a place where they wouldn't be harmed and they could lead their lives and bring their children. And that's exactly what it is. Exactly. Rita Moreno was on the Pops last night. She read Emma Lazarus' poem about come, no matter how you are, come here. And now we have conflict about that.
Right.
I've been disagreeing with those who say, shut the doors, build the walls, everybody has to come in legally. Of course we believe everyone should come in legally. But then there are those who are suffering. Do we remember when they came over in Cuba on those boats? And I still have met people who have come that way recently. I don't know what to say.
Well, let me ask you something. A lot of people say, our doors are open to people who are legal. That's correct. You're right about that. But the reality also is, how many people can we take in? And when do we stop? And when do we say, if you're vetted, that's fine. But if you're not, how could we take a chance? So many people want to, remember 9/11. Don't forget about that.
I wouldn't forget about that for a second.
Right. So, there are people who want to hurt us. Sometimes they're jealous because we're...
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other times it's just because they say in their countries nobody does anything for you. There's corruption, there's government issues, all kinds of problems that exist. So they're sending kids, for example. Who knows? Who are their parents? Do they have any relatives? Why are they coming here all alone? What do you answer to that?
Well, first of all, we do have the resources to figure that problem out. Could I figure it out myself? I'm not prepared. We have the social workers. We have the FBI, the CIA. We have the police. We have so many people who can make judgments about, you cannot come in because you are a dangerous person. I agree with you. But most people say to me, if there's 1,000 people waiting to come in and they're illegals, some of those are bad people and they're going to hurt you, Janice. What are you supposed to do?
Right.
Well, then I say, it's not a full basket of rotten apples. I want to find the good apples. Do you understand? I want to find the needy, good people. That's what we're about. You know what? I thought of it the other day. We're the guys with the white hats. We're the guys that helped the countries that have had nothing to become prosperous. So we really care about the human element. And I know what you're talking about, those who don't respect life. And they even live in our country. They could have been born here. It's frightening. It's very, very frightening. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we have more than enough land, right?
Yeah,
and I think we have the jobs, too. I know people worry about their jobs.
Yeah.
I know that. And I think I'm in a facility now that if there were not people from other countries, Nigeria, Haiti, the Philippines, Puerto Rico, nobody would be taking care of me. Do you get what I'm saying?
So what you're saying, of course I get it, but what you're saying is that these people take jobs that Americans who are, born here and living their whole life here wouldn't do. Is that what you're saying?
I am. I mean, go to McDonald's. Anybody can work there, and there are young kids working there. They might be any color of the rainbow, and that's what I saw at the Tops. You cannot differentiate between people. It was a crowd of people. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, Janice.
But if you ask a young person who doesn't have a job, maybe you'd like to go to Taco Bell. Maybe you'd like to work for the town and pick up trash. Some people, and a lot of them, would say, that job's not for me.
Mm-hmm. So that's your justification, is what you're saying.
It is. And when I talk to these women who helped me, and they really do, if they weren't here, I'd be by myself, and they're helping other people, I always say to them, I want to know how they got here, where they're from, how long they've been here, are they a citizen? And then I just say, welcome to America. I'm so glad you're here. Mm-hmm. And I asked them, what are their children doing? And many of them work double shifts. They work extra. And, you know, most of them have children who are in college who are going to be living a better, stronger life. And that's what parents want for their children. Mm-hmm. That's the dream.
Of course. You know, there was a time where people from other countries used to think that this is a place that the streets are paved with gold. You know, this is the place where they can get everything they want. But is it true? I mean, let's think about it. When you come from a different country, not easy, okay? You have to take these jobs, and you have to probably work 3 jobs to be able to afford to live here. So it's not the ideal situation for a lot of immigrants, but on the other hand, their countries are much worse. And
that's what I asked. Are you going back? Would you go back? And a lot of them say no. But I also notice when I go to a store, say like Sears or Kmart, and they're having a big, big sale, and everything's marked down, some of these women who work so hard are in line with tons of pairs of dungarees and shirts, and they're sending them back to their families. They don't forget their families. Most people love their families, respect them, and are ready to help. Okay. Here as well as anywhere.
All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to pretend for a moment that you went to the Congress, all right, on a day that Congress was doing all kinds of things, and you made you created a situation where you can talk to them about your feelings and the feelings of many people whom you know. So stand in front of the podium and think of yourself talking to the Congress and saying to them what?
Okay, I'm going to pretend now, I hope. And I would say I'm thankful to be here to talk to you. I know many of you are married, you're parents, you have children, and your history includes maybe generations before you that came from someplace else. And hopefully they shared their history as my parents did, because my grandfather was a rag collector, and then he became a metal collector, and then he went into the shoe business selling used machinery back in the 40s in Lynn, Massachusetts. And Lynn is the first exporter of shoes in the 1700s. That's my community that I came from. And I want you to think, when I see children being handed to people on buses, I don't know how you do it. Right. It's equal to the children of Germany that went to live with parents who were willing to take them in England, in other countries.
Right.
Families who are willing to take them and pretend they belong to them. Listen, right. we cannot forget about the children. We cannot forget about those who really need support. It's like the Red Cross. We feel we have to. Some of us really want to make things right. And the idea, I wish it was a utopia. I wish there were peace for everyone. I really would like everyone to be able to have stability. And you really have to stop and think about human life and how important it is. Just look at those boys in the cave. Look how hard they're trying to save their lives and get them out free to grow up to be good men. And that's what I expect of you. Be good men and women, and remember, we help each other. That's how we succeed.
That's right. Helping each other is a very good way to put it, because it can't be done alone. I mean, it takes a community. It takes a very big group of people to make differences in our world. Now, I want to talk about one more thing. You were a teacher, and teachers really are very important to give information and education to kids about what's happening in the world. Now, do you feel that this is taking place in our schools right now? Because I think, and this is just my belief, and my belief is that if you teach young people when they're very young to respect, to have gratitude, this is important. So what do you say to this?
Well, you know, I spoke to you a little differently yesterday, but when I was watching the Pops, I even saw 6-year-olds singing all those favorite American tunes that talk about the red, white, and blue. So I have a different perspective from what I had yesterday. I understand what you're talking about. My dream is I know the teachers teach kids how to read the newspaper, how to discuss things, but I don't think they get into politics. When I was a teacher, we would have, like, pretend conventions. And believe it or not, if a kid booed, I said, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. Mm-hmm. And I assumed that's the way it would be in America. That's not what, but times are changing. And some of the things that people did as kids, they do as adults now. And that's not really good. But my real feeling is that children need to know, and teachers are believers. They work for less money than most people, believe it or not. I know some people would debate that. Mm-hmm. But I wish the curriculum had time for celebration of holidays. The curriculum had time. I can remember a teacher saying, you don't write in that book. That book belongs to everybody. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That desk belongs to everybody.
Well, what
your
about
parents help pay for that? And we don't have time to say that to children, to make them realize that we're all connected.
Yes.
All right? We're so busy teaching the curriculum that we've lost the social interactive ability to show children to appreciate each other.
That's right.
It's not a war to get good grades or to be successful. It's really a place to accept everybody and accept them as they are and help them to do the best they can.
Good words. Now, a couple of last things that I want to talk about. When we were young, we had to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we also had to sing certain songs, and it was stunning. I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't understand exactly why we had to do that, but we did, and when we did it, we felt like this nation meant a lot to us. Now, they cut it out because there are so many different nationalities and ethnicities in this country, and they felt it was unfair to just present one kind of song or one kind of pledge. Again,
well, I think they still do it, Susan. I just want to correct you a little bit, because I remember in my class there were these two children. Their parents were actually communists. That's in the 50s. I guess it was legal. I don't know what it was. But they would leave the classroom. And there are children who are Jehovah Witnesses. They don't pledge to the flag. They don't have birthdays. And the way it is now is like if you went to a church or a synagogue. You would participate to the most that you could, and the rest you would just be polite about it, either sit, stand, or whatever.
Right.
And I'm not sure. I'm not teaching any longer. But I think those who really, for some reason, do not want to say the pledge or under God, they can stand still.
Right.
Or they can leave the room, okay? And I actually work with a teacher who was a Jehovah Witness, and she left the classroom.
I wasn't aware of that. Now,
all right. So I think the legality for pledging to the flag. It's a legality that I don't know if they have to say it every day or once a week. I really don't know the rules and regulations. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and he said, I don't know if it's federal or it's local, the rulings on what's expected.
I thought it came from the Supreme Court.
Well, I'm not sure. We have to really look that up, that in every public school there is a flag in every classroom.
Yeah.
And it's hung appropriately. I learned that by, doing parades and everything, that there are rules and regulations for treating the flag. I don't think everybody knows what they should do with a tattered flag. Did you know?
Yeah,
you do not throw it away,
Yeah. Now, we're at the end of the show, Janice, and I always like my guests to have the last word. So what would you like to tell our audience?
That's important. They don't have to agree with me. But they have to think what's the safest, best way to help human beings from other countries and other places to be safe. And they have to think about our welcome mat. And do we want to welcome people into our country? That's the important thing. I know about legalities and everything, but every now and then you have to change the rule for somebody who's in great need.
Well, that's a great way to finish the show. My guest today has been Janice Sloan Riolo, who is a wonderful person, and she understands the things that are necessary for our country to do. And if people want to get in touch with you, Janet, for some reason they feel that while you're a senior citizen, you're still like a young woman. You have a mind of a young woman, and it's so important that people understand that they can do the same thing.
I'm glad you said that, Susan, because I'm not afraid to say what I think. I know it could be dangerous or whatever it is, but this is a free country.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you, Janice Sloan Riolo, for being on the Susan Brender Show. And come back again, because I'm sure you have lots more to share with our audience. So thank you again.
Thanks so much. You have a wonderful summer. Enjoy July. Ask your wife.
Back in my day, to become an author, you had to master your craft. You needed a team that you could trust, a team that would never flinch in battle. Back in my day, you would risk losing your rights and pay outrageous amounts for terrible service. Well, yesterday is not today. Gladiator Publishing Company has a century-long reputation for defending writers and readers and winning awards for their record-setting low-cost services and market sales. They are 75 to 80% more cost-effective and never touch your royalties or copyrights. Go with a publisher that is so transparent that they have their contract on their webpage. Have your book treated with honesty, loyalty, and respect, period. Visit us at gladiatorpublishing.com or text us at 417-291-9162.
Thank you for listening to The Susan Brender Show. To be a guest, email sebrender@yahoo.com.